Hi, it's been 2 weeks since I did my last video. I want to start by apologizing for not having a video last week. I have a pretty standard schedule for Wednesday, and I have a time slotted in where I do the video and then upload it. But last Wednesday, my whole day got kind of thrown off, and I actually went home and completely forgot about it. And when I remembered it on Thursday, my whole week for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was completely jam-packed. And by the time Monday rolled around, I thought, it's 2 days. I might as well just put it off and do it on Wednesday again. So I'm kind of making an apology, not like there's mobs of people out there, waiting for my video to come out. But I feel I need to acknowledge those of you who might have been wondering what the heck happened. So I've made some notes. So excuse me if I look down a little bit. It's been a couple of weeks and it's been a really busy couple of weeks. And a lot of changes have been occurring as far as insights that I've had, as far as behavioral changes, and actually as far as my weight as well. So after my last check-in, that weekend, I am taking a second year of hypnotherapy training. And in that training, we are practicing our counseling skills. And so we do what's called a round robin, where if somebody has a goal that they're working on, they are the client and they work with the instructor first off, doing a little bit of counseling around their goal, and then other members of the class step in and replace the counselor, sort of tag them out and work with the person who's receiving the counseling. So I volunteered to be the person to receive the counseling. And I had mentioned last time that I was on that my partner and I are going to be going to do couples counseling to work on a couple of things that come up in our relationship. And so I thought, well, this would be a good way of sort of getting some more clarity before we do our counseling together, and also practicing talking about it so that I know what it is I want to say when I go in and talk to the counselor. So that ended up being a really interesting session. They spent about an hour and a half, and if there's 9 members in my class, as well as the instructor, so 10 different people working on me. So it was really interesting, and I had a lot of insight come up during that practice session. And the big thing is really around my fear of being vulnerable in a relationship. So I've mentioned how I have a tendency to attract guys who are, they tell me pretty much on the first date that they are a bad fit for me. And yet I'm like, hey, that's fine. We'll solve that. Once you find out what I'm really all about, you'll like me. So I think I made reference before to, I actually had a first date with somebody where he sat down and told me, I'm never going to fall in love with you. I'm never going to sleep over. I've got my own routines. I don't like to have my routine broken. I'm probably going to be moving in about 6 months. But if you want to go ahead, I'll buy the coffee. And I was like, sure, buy the coffee. He pretty much told me right off the top that we were not a good fit, but I decided to just kind of ignore the universe giving me like everything I needed to know to run in the other direction. And so I've been speculating in these videos that what's going on for me is that, for some reason I'm attracting these unhealthy relationships. And I realized that what it is there's a part of me that's terrified to be in a committed relationship because I might get hurt, because it might go sideways. What if I couldn't deal with that? And so I go for the guys who tell me they're wrong for me, because on some level I know I don't have to fully commit. It's not a big risk. He's going to be moving in 6 months. This is not going to be a long-term relationship. And it's not as though it's something I've been doing with my logical mind. Ooh, who are the guys who are going to be bad for me? But it's something I've done on some deeper level. So it really hit home with me during that class when that came up during the session. And it also makes a lot of sense when it comes to my weight. I've mentioned in previous videos how I put weight on when I'm in a relationship and then take it off as soon as the relationship ends. And so this kind of fits these two pieces. I think what happens is when I'm in a relationship, I feel vulnerable, and weight can be a protection. Weight can be sort of a barrier between yourself and the other person, or a way from keeping them literally as well as figuratively from getting too close. So that's been a pattern throughout my life of, at least since my marriage broke up, of attracting people who are not good for me and wearing the fat suit as a way of keeping myself protected. So I've been doing a lot of work around that on my own in hypnosis, just telling myself that it's okay to be vulnerable, that I don't need this layer of protection, that I'm safe in relationship, that I can handle whatever direction it goes in, etc., etc. And this prompted me to have a bit of an aha and around food and my use of food. Now, I've said in previous videos, I'm fairly healthy. I exercise every second day, sometimes more frequently than that. I'm not into fast food. I'm not into junk food. I'm not a binge eater. I don't eat a lot of ice cream or donuts or cookies. Like, I'm actually a fairly healthy eater. But I realized that just because I don't do those things doesn't necessarily mean that I'm paying attention to what my body really needs. I'm eating what I eat, but it really just maintains my weight at a certain level, and it's not a weight that I'm particularly comfortable with. And so I hate the idea of diets. I've said this before, but I've decided to try an experiment, and I'm not looking at it as a diet. But I realize that my body responds really well when I'm eating a lot of protein and when I'm eating a lot of vegetables, when I eat a bit of fruit, but it does not respond well when I eat carbs. When I eat carbs, my weight fluctuates wildly and goes up. Like I've often said, I can put on 5 pounds in one day, and like the weight I'm gaining is more than the weight of the actual food that I'm eating. How does that happen? But I think what's happened is I've been working on the idea that it's okay for me to be vulnerable, and that sort of prompted me to take a more honest look at what I'm doing around food and to make some changes there. So about 10 days ago or so, after that sort of revelation, I decided to cut out carbs, and I lost 5 pounds in 4 days. And it was just amazing. I would wake up like another pound down and another pound and a half down, and my body was really responding. And so I decided again to experiment with this. Like, I need to know not how to maintain my weight at 165 pounds. I need to know how to maintain my weight at a weight that feels healthy to me. What does my body respond to? How much carbs are okay for me and how much is too much? And so I decided for a day I was just going to eat whatever I want, throw the carbs back in and see what happens. So I had gone down 5 pounds. I ate carbs with my breakfast, with my lunch, with my dinner, and went back up 3.5 pounds. So there it is. My body doesn't like carbs, doesn't respond well to them. And so over the last couple of days, I've cut out the carbs again, and this morning was down another 1.5 pounds. So overall, the numbers are a bit confusing because throughout this whole thing, I go up during a week and then back down, and I'm basically at the same place. There is weight coming off, and then it comes back on, but every time I check in, I'm roughly the same. So I'm kind of starting all over again here. So right now, my weight is currently 161.6, which is down about 4 pounds from where I initially started. But what I'm going to be doing over the next while is experimenting with removing the carbs, and then when I'm at a weight that I feel really good about, slowly adding them in a little bit. Can I tolerate 1 meal a day with carbs? Can it be 2 meals a day? Does it need to be less frequently than that? And again, I'm not looking at this as a diet. I'm looking at this as a lifestyle. You know, some people adopt a vegetarian lifestyle because they've got, ethical issues against eating animals, or maybe they don't respond well to meat. So I'm looking at maybe I need to adopt, a low carb or no carb lifestyle, because I got to respect what it is my body responds well to. And if my body isn't responding well to certain foods, then I got to pay attention to that. And it feels or may sound like I'm doing this because I'm trying to promote the weight loss, but what I think has really happened is that I've removed a big emotional block that had me stuck, and now that that block has been moved out of the way, I'm able to look more honestly and more creatively at what I can do with my relationship with food. So that's where I am right now. I'm going to check in every week. I've booked it into my calendar. I am no longer letting crazy things happen to my Wednesdays. I'm going to be here every Wednesday morning, recording my video in the morning, and it will be up. So you can follow me through this process. I'm going to be reporting in, doing some more hypnosis around myself, and just working on these behavioral changes that feel really positive. So 161.6 today, and we'll see where I am next Wednesday. Check in and find out. Bye-bye.